Good afternoon, everybody. So this is part of my PhD thesis. So the topic is, can rural employment guarantee scheme reduce short-term migration? Evidence from West Bengal, India. So I have looked into short-term as well as any type of migration. So before I go on with the presentation today, I'd just like to give a brief outline of what I'm going to discuss.
Left and right.
So I'd just like to give a brief outline of what I'm going to discuss today. I will introduce the topic. So and then I go on to how MG and NIGS can affect migration. Then I will briefly discuss the objectives of the study. Then discuss the data variables, regression strategy, discuss the results, and then end with the discussion. So if we can consider economic reform, so everybody should agree that growth has actually increased massively in India since the advent of economic reforms. But there are concerns about inclusiveness of that growth. So there has been a plethora of papers which say that the growth story has not been inclusive. So this factor, along with factors like increasing urbanization and lower opportunities in the rural areas, have led to increasing circular migration mainly among the poorer households. And Jyoti Ghosh and C.P. Chandrasekhar in 2007, they said that these circular migrations are more based on distress factors like less livelihoods and agrarian crisis. So the Human Development Report in 2009, they said that migration can help the households through better earnings when one of the household members migrate to some of the urban areas. But there has been many studies which say that migration is associated with exploitation and exclusion. And then there are papers which say that migration leads to overcrowding in urban areas and shortage of skilled laborers in rural areas. So, given this ever-increasing trend of migration and these shortfalls, so there is a need to curb rural out-migration. And if we consider MG and NIGS, so MG and NIGS can lead to reduction of migration, especially the short-term ones. What are the channels through which this reduction of migration can happen? So, the guaranteed employment is one. The improved agricultural productivity through the assets that has been created is one, and another is the subsequent higher wages in the agriculture and non-agricultural spheres. And then there is a counter argument which says that the money that the households get from participation in MG and NIGS, that can facilitate migration through the finances actually. But if we consider the literature, so there has been evidences that MG has been able to reduce rural urban migration. So Kofe, then Ambasta et al. In 2008, they said that migration has reduced in Madhya Pradesh. Menon in migration has reduced in Rajasthan. Jacob paper was on Tamil Nadu, and then PAPS 2012. I think it should be Burton PAPS. So based on these pretexts, so this paper again wants to explore the role of MG and NIGS, if any, in reducing short-term rural out-migrations. So it studies the impact of participation in MG and NIGS on migration, and then aims to explore the impact of intensity of participation. By intensity of participation, I mean the number of days and the annual earnings from participation in MG and NIGS. So what I found is that if we consider just participation, there has been no significant impact. But the intensity has a negative impact on migration. By intensity, I mean number of days and annual earnings. So the data that has been used in the paper is a field survey that has been conducted by myself in January to April 2012 in 2 blocks of Cooch Behar district. The 2 blocks chosen were Haldibari block and Cooch Behar 1 block. So Haldibari block was one of the worst performing block at that time in terms of average person days, and then Cooch Behar 1 block was one of the best performing block in at that time in terms of average percentages. So from Haldiwari block, Dokhin Boro GP, Haldiwari and Devanganj Haldiwari was chosen, and from Kuchbihar block, Dawaguri and Falikguri was chosen. 556 households were surveyed, and then question based on socio-economic and demographic characteristics was asked. Question based on MGNIGS, basically, did you participate? Who are the members who participated in the program in 2009, 10, 11? What are the wages that were received? So these kind of questions, awareness also. And then there are questions on migration, whether you migrated, whether any of the member of the household migrated in 2011, 2010, 2009, and the number of months they migrated for. Now, coming to the variables, what we postulated was that participation in MGNIGS in 2010 has the potential to affect migration decision of the household in 2011. By this I mean that if a household has participated in MGNIGS in 2010 and has received a certain number of work, based on that he or she has a expectation that expectation of the number of days he or she would receive in 2011. So based on that, the migration decision would be related. So in field interviews that has been conducted basically says this. We have participated this many number of days in 2010, so we expected this many number of days in 2011, so we migrated or we didn't migrate. So something like this. And if we go on to the data, so we found that 60% of the household who got work in 2010 also got in 2011. And 70% of the households who did not get work in 2010 also did not get work in 2011. The pairwise correlation between the number of days of work in 2010 and 11 was found to be 0.58, and that was significant. So coming to the outcome and primary variables of interest. So the outcome variable, as I explained, whether any individual of the household migrated for 1 to 6 months in the year 2011, and the primary variables of interest was participation in MGNIGS in 2010. By participation I mean any member got work. So that is a binary variable 0 or 1, and the number of days and annual earnings in 2010 from MGNIGS. So there has been many controls that has been used, socio-economic factors, mainly caste, religion, number of livestock, land cultivated, then house types. By house types I mean whether the whether the house is cemented, semi-cemented, or a kacha household. So these controls were introduced, and then the demographic factors like number of kids and household head characteristics and number of working male individuals. So these variables were introduced as the controls. And then we used instruments. Outcome. I want to be knowing the outcome of that household had it not been treated. So this is basically the problem of counterfactual. So if we consider this regression equation, so this is a regression equation. So y is the outcome variable and d is the primary variable of interest, that is the treatment variable. So if there is no endogenously concern, so if I run a probit model, I will be done with the model. So the coefficient with d should give me the potential impact. But as we all know, so there is some omitted variable bias in this model, in the sense that a household which migrated in 2000, maybe they have migrated because of some unobserved characteristics like enthusiasm or dynamism, which I as a researcher cannot measure. So we have to control for this omitted variable bias. And since y is a binary variable and d again is a binary variable, we don't have any available methodologies till now. What we use is linear instrumental variable regression. So we take y to be linear and then run the regression, and then we also run another regression with bivariate probit, that is basically joint estimation of MGNIGS participation and migration decision. And again, coming to the modeling of number of days and annual earnings, again there is a potential endogeneity problem. So what we did is run a probit regression on number of days. So what the residuals that I got was put into the probit regression. So residuals plus number of days, and then if the residuals If the residual was significant, then there is endogeneity problem, and if it's not insignificant, there is no endogeneity. So this methodology has been used by Martin Rebellion and Quinty Meadon in their 2000 economic journal paper on child labor and schooling, and the model was similar for annual earnings too. Now going to the descriptive stats. So if I see the households which migrated, around 40% of those households worked in 2010, and among the households which didn't migrate, 51% worked in 2010. And the mean number of days of work in among the households which migrated is 12, whereas the mean number of days of work among the households which did not migrate is around 21 actually. So this difference is significant at 5% level. Again, the annual and earnings difference is significant at 5% level. So this broadly suggests that there might be some impact of NG and IGS on migration. Now we go on to the regression results. So we ran first of all we ran two models, bivariate probit and the IP probit, as I discussed. So two different specifications. I have run this model with other specifications also, but I show two different specifications, one with all the controls and another with the main occupation of the household was dropped from those controls. So what we see that this coefficient, what in 2010 coefficient was insignificant in all the models, and the rho, which is the covariance between D and epsilon, that was also insignificant, which suggests that there is no endogeneity. Now the instruments that I have used one is ratio of MGNHS wage to the wage received by the main earner, and whether the household head attends political meetings and rallies. So these instruments have what I postulated is that these variables can affect MGNHS participation, but do not affect migration decisions. So I have conducted all the tests for endogeneity. So the Sargent test for over identification, under identification test, and whether the instruments are strong or not. So all the tests were passed, and then So and these instruments were significant in the first regressions. And since there is no endogeneity, I ran a simple probit, and the coefficients remain same throughout all the models. Now going to the number of days, so I ran a probit model on the number of days. So again, with all controls and with the main occupation, with the variable of main occupation drop, so two models were run. Again, the instruments were significant in the probit models, and if I introduce the residual and the number of days, I find that the residuals are not significant, but the number of days is now negative and significant. So since the residual was not significant, so I cannot. So I cannot reject the null of exogeneity. So I just ran a simple model, and I saw the coefficients to be pretty much same. At least the significance level was same. So what I found from this regression is that number of days actually has a negative significant impact on short-term migration. Again, the results actually remain same for annual earnings, so the same methodology was followed. And what I found was that, sorry, this should be number of days, and annual earnings. So what I found was the coefficient was negative and significant, but this significance is at 10% level. So these all regressions were run taking into account only short-term migrations. Now, if I go on to a higher level of not considering only short-term migration, but all types of migration. So what I found was working in 2010 doesn't have an impact as found in the other model also, and then number of days of work also doesn't have a significant impact. And then annual earnings also doesn't have a significant impact. This suggests that if we consider all types of migration, like the longer term migration, so the MGNHS doesn't have a significant impact. So what this suggests is like if I consider a household which migrates for more than six months, so maybe those households, maybe no, actually those households migrate for some sort of skilled labor or some sort of permanent jobs. So MGNREGA doesn't have the potential to stop those, but it has the potential to stop the distress migrations, which are more or less consist of 2 or 3 months. So all these regression results, they have some underlying assumptions. So if we drop those assumptions and run basic non-parametric model of local polynomial smoothing, so I see that the probability of migration actually reduces as the number of days of work increase. And I found similar type of plot when the probability of migration increases. When the annual earnings increase, the probability of migration actually decreases. Now coming to some of the ethnographic evidences. So in Holdibari block, so all the GPs they did not implement the program that well, and most of the households said that they had to migrate for better opportunities or for higher wages, especially in the lean season, because there is no work. And there is no MGNREGA's work also. So most of the households have received work for 6 to 12 days. And then in Holimari GP, which had an implementation record of a bit better than the other two GPs in Holimari block, they said the households which got work for more than 50 days, they said that we have stopped migrating because of the MGNREGA's work. And then Dawaguri GP, which has implemented the program very well. So most of the households reported that we used to migrate some 5 or 6 years back, but now due to MGNREGA's, our migration has substantially reduced. And in Holimari GP, I found a worker who is actually a skilled worker. He works on marble floorings, and he migrates for typically 9 to 10 months a year. So when I asked that why don't you stop migrating and work on MGNREGAs, he said the following lines. So why should I migrate? I work in cities to get 250 to 300 rupees, and if I stay back to work in MGNREGAs, I will only receive 130 days, and that too for 100 days if I will. So I can earn the same money if I spend just 2 months in cities. So this suggests that broadly, all the regressions along with these ethnographic evidences suggest that it doesn't have an impact on long-term migration, which typically consists of permanent labor and skilled work, but it has an impact on short-term distress migration. So coming to the final slide, not final, one slide. So this paper attempts to explore the impact of MGNREGAs in reducing short-term migration. So as I said, there is no significant impact on participation, just participation. So yeah, one point I missed, that we found that there is no significant impact on participation. That means that most of the households that I surveyed was work for 6 to 12 days. Now 6 to 12 days of work had not changed their migration decision. So, but if I go on to the number of days and annual earnings, it has a significant negative impact. Now I want to come again to the Dawaguri GP, which had a very good implementation record. So employment opportunities was provided in the lean season, and there was an overall increase in agriculture and non-agricultural wages, and the household said that is because of MGNREGAs, and the household also said that assets has been created which helped to increase the agricultural yield. So all these factors actually helped in their cause and reduced migration. So before ending, I just like to go to this talk about this asset structure that has been created. So this is the Tosha River, which is flowing here. So during the rainy season, the water was overloaded and had been coming to this part. So agriculture was typically stopped before the advent of MGNREGAs. Now this structure was built in between, and now the water cannot come to this part, and now agricultural activities has been made possible. So households which typically own these agricultural plots, they said that earlier they had to migrate, but now due to this structure, agriculture activities are possible and they have stopped migrating. So what I am trying to say from this paper, okay, so the last slide. So there is a need for better implementation of the program to have its potential impact.